Hello everybody, I gotta make it short and sweet for reals. Carbon tax protest. If you don't close highways, you don't shut down the trains, you got nothing. And it's just a matter of time that the government's gonna overtake and win. And that's the sad truth, the sad reality. If you trust the government, you don't know history. And that's the reality of it. We've lost this. I would say people can do their little honk and horn display, but if the infrastructure moves and continues to go, Trudeau's not going anywhere. And the fact of the matter remains, Trudeau will stay in power all the way to 2025. When a country runs like that, and I want to be clear when we talk about carbon tax. Carbon tax. They made a tax on carbon. Carbon. That's your highways, the cars going through. That's your trains going back and forth, and all the petroleum products on it. When you hold that back in Canada, when you hold back the highways, you are protesting carbon tax, at least in the idea of fuel. And I mean, it's not just fuel, it's home heating, it's our electricity, it's our food, it's everything. This is what had to happen. And folks, you can say about this left-right divide, but when you organize a rally with the police, when you display the glory of Canadian flags, which I saw hundreds of Canadian flags. I love Canada. What do you love about it? Do you love that you're taxed at an exorbitant rate, well past all the communist countries in the world? In fact, to find equal taxation without representation, you have to travel throughout the Commonwealth, the constitutional monarchies, the kingdoms, right? This is where we're getting into those Middle East countries that everybody slams. Ottoman Empire, all dispersed. They're all kingdoms, just like you. And those kingdoms in that group all do carbon tax. You know who doesn't do carbon tax? All the we the people republics. Communist China? Nuh-uh. No carbon tax. Civil law socialist Russia? No carbon tax. United States we the people republic? No carbon tax. When you start calculating taxes of a country, really digging into it, being the real Taxpayers Federation, I mean, I'll give them a little kudos here. They did do stand up against Alberta's increase as well as the carbon tax, and then the GST calculated on top of it, meaning that the increase for Alberta on this day, April 1st, never mind the swelling taxes already in place, but just the increases that people say, it's not much. This increase is only the exact same amount as almost the entirety of all the federal USA fuel tax, all of the average state fuel taxes combined. Just our increase. At least they brought some of it up, but not the real highlight, that we're overtaxed, so ballooningly overtaxed, we've completely overtaken the communists. And we didn't do it this year or last year or even in the election cycle of Justin Trudeau. We overtook the communist countries going back officially to 2012. That's when it started. And I want people to understand, carbon tax is carbon pricing and carbon tax. It's all of it. Trudeau rolled out carbon tax. Conservatives, Stephen Harper, absolutely, with none of the allies with him except for the monarchies and the pure unitary kingdoms, pure dictators. They all rolled it out. A good way to transfer the wealth of those who work to those who don't work. those who rule you with zero rules of governance, no rules on how to govern, and absolutely no accountability. Pure tyrants. And if you don't know you're in one, I don't know what to tell you. Again, I'm not a communist, but I know the difference between radical taxation and medium taxation and very light taxation. I can tell you we're in the heavy taxation bracket of the worst countries in the world. And if you think it's paying for you or paying for anything good going forward, you're sadly mistaken. Not even close. Not even ever going to ever alleviate any of the hardship all the people of Canada are facing. Your inflation, the pure abuse of government is radical, and it's way overdone. That's my video. I'll upload the full onto video. Of course, the only limited reel I can get will, I think, be 35-40 seconds. Hopefully, at least I get to say about the highways and the trains. Because again, if you don't stop any of that, all you've done is bow down to your master, the Lord of monarchies. That's Justin Trudeau today, but tomorrow will be whomever you elect, who's not going to get rid of the 11 kingdom treaties Canada has signed from 2012 onward, beginning in 1993 with Paris Climate. But what you really got into in 2012 signed on to another 11 that have everything to do with taxing you on everything you got, until you're far beyond in the most extremes of socialism. Your idea of conservative, liberal, NDP, Green, Bloc, People's Party of Canada, all of it's baloney, an illusion. One crown in Canada, divided into a federalism of two parts. Federal, provincial, two crowns will hold 90% of the country, locked away from all of you, who are subjects, who are slaves. And to keep you in that state, they have a whole savage class of First Peoples that you can feel better about yourself in kicking them around. That's how it's always worked in Canada. That's how it's always going to work. And you can look at all the history of Canada. Your taxes go steadily up like this until the point is you will have nothing and you will exist and you'll beg to work just to eat. That's the truth. And if you don't believe me, again, if you don't trust if you trust the government, you don't know history. A beautiful slogan, a beautiful truth. And for those who fail to observe history, you will be doomed to repeat it. And Canada, you're repeating it. And if anyone thinks that celebrating they love Canada, please tell me what you love about it. Do you love the idea that it's inequality of the person? Do you love the idea that the more you work, the more you lose? That there's a transfer to an upper echelon and a transfer to those in the lowest standards, so that way we can keep everybody in a pyramid scheme? That, again, a pyramid scheme falls apart because who's on the bottom? Well, you are. And if there's no one to feed you and you're feeding it all up the chain, you're game over. This is history. This is the most important lesson you can ever learn. And if you haven't learned it, you've got a long way to go. And eventually, you're going to see the reality of where you're going. Like I said, year after year, taxes go up, debt goes up, you go down, your worth goes down. And eventually, when you're in that third world status, maybe you'll stand up and you'll do something. But I don't know. It's sad. It's awful. I know I'm going to work towards my future, and that's not going to be in Canada. I have to do that. I have to go where I think my kids are going to have their best shot. I was going through property values just in my home province of Alberta, selling acres of land, parcels, everything else. Radical prices that you can't find in the United States. And with our climate and everything else, there's no justification. You're not growing the rich rewards of agriculture that you can grow even in the United States, especially in those southern states. When you start looking at California or the Sunshine Coast, right, it's brutal. And you know what? The climate isn't there. The energy needs aren't there in those times. I mean, you can look at cooling, but there's other ways of geothermal cooling, by the way, that work well for a lot of folks. And if you got the mind for it and you can open yourself up to it, there's all kinds of things you can do. But these realities will never exist for Canada. And when they say they have to tax you for your reality existence, yet those taxes benefit them and they don't have to live the way you have to live, something's wrong. And you have a broken country and a broken system that goes far beyond Trudeau. And I mean, I see all the fuck Trudeaus, but I see all the hundreds of Canada flags, how proud people are of their country. And again, what are you proud of? Because when Trudeau's gone and it still continues on and nothing changes and the property values are extreme and the taxation doesn't change, it just changes form in the carbon price. And they say, well, that's okay. We're only going to tax all the producers who sell to you and increase their rates so that you're paying the tax. No, it's not a direct tax. It's called an indirect tax. And if you don't believe it, again, I don't know what else to tell you, but you're being a cuckold and a fool. Because again, these things don't exist in China. They most certainly don't exist in Russia. And if you haven't been paying attention, they absolutely don't exist in the United States of America. That doesn't tell you that 3 of the major allies of the world aren't participating in these shenanigans, and that the other 2 allies are using that in their colonial assets. That's right. Colonial assets are the only ones in the world paying. If you don't believe me, go read the World Bank reports coming out of the Palace of Nations. Because why? It's only those colonials who pay all this crud. It's only you, the less than citizen, and some of you less than human being. Things that are not supposed to be legal since World War II, but 2 of the allies get away with it. 2 of the allies refuse to continue on the promise of the UN Charter and the promise of the Declaration of Human Rights. That's my video, folks. I'm going to head home. I got family things to deal with. My folks are, well, one's not doing too well, and I'm going to go on to work and work through my year as best I can to get situated for where I got to go in life. Because I certainly know it can't be any further in Canada, and it's just not enough. If anything I learned here, there's just not enough people. The focus is not on what has to be done. It's not really a true protest, but probably more of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, elect your next tyrant, and just pretend it's all good, even though it's not going to be good, no matter who you get. Just like GST with Brian Mulroney, it's all a con job. All a con job. I know.